What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and I'm joined by Tyler, and we are back for another video of our E3 coverage for 2018. This time, we'll be talking about Ghost of Tsushima, the game from Sucker Punch that was shown more fully at E3 this year. We saw some gameplay. We actually saw quite an extended look at the gameplay. So Tyler and I are going to be talking about that, going back and forth, saying what we thought about the game, and maybe talking about a little bit when we think the game's actually going to come out. I think we got some hints as to how ready it is just based on what we saw. Of course, this is continuing our E3 coverage. We've had many videos throughout the past couple days on the biggest games of E3. We're going to be continuing that for the rest of this week leading into Friday. We're going to be going up till Friday with more videos about the biggest games that were announced at E3. So Tyler, we saw Ghost of Tsushima. We saw this maybe like 10, 11 months ago. Sony announced this. We finally found out what Sucker Punch was doing, this Japanese-centric game, this more samurai game, and we finally got to see more of it. We saw more cinematic moments of this game. We also saw a bit of gameplay, and like I said, a little bit of hints as to how ready it maybe is that we thought or didn't think that it was. So what did you think about what we saw from Ghost of Tsushima?
Well, it's not as far along as I thought. I thought we were going to be getting this not this fall, next fall. I no longer believe that. I almost don't think that this is even a 2019 game. I think it's going to be 2020, hopefully. Unlike Alex, actually I'm not that impressed by Ghost of Shuhei Yoshida. There's just something, like, the environment looks good, looks cool. I love samurais. I like, like that type of stuff I do really like. Like ancient Japan or whatever. Like, that stuff looks cool. I like that era. The fighting looks cool-ish, but not that great in my opinion, because it almost seems like, if you notice, a lot of the fighting was all he had to do was block, counter, slash them once or twice, and they were dead. So I didn't really like that all that much. Just because, I don't think this is I don't think this is even close. Because if you think about it, if you're trying to kill somebody, just like Assassin's Creed used to do, why does only one enemy attack at once? And then you kill them next, kill them next. I didn't like that. I would have preferred if they were all coming at him all at once, like how a lot of newer games now do. Finally, thank God. Because a lot of games used to do that. Now a lot of games are like, yep, just here you go, deal with them. So I think that kind of showed, because I don't believe that's how the game will actually be. So that kind of showed me, like, this isn't close. Visually, like I said, I thought the environment looks really good, but character models I don't think look that great. The hay looked bad to me on his back. He moved very stiff. Horse riding looked very good. So that part, maybe they started with horse riding. Now they're working down to walking and running. I don't know. I thought when they announced it, I was super interested. And now I'm like, yeah, you're going to... Like, now they have a lot of work to, like, try to even win me over just a little bit. Because I feel like this is, like, what we would have seen if when they first announced Kingdom Hearts 3 and then they would have showed us some gameplay, I would have been like, this looks kind of like it used to look. Like, that's not new compared to what they're showing now. And it's like, Jesus. I want that Jesus, feeling when I watch Ghost of... really anything. Any new game. I want to be able to say, like I did with The Last of Us, what I did with Spider-Man again, and I do every time. With Death Stranding, I'm like, what is going on? Just like when I see a new game... And they're trying to sell it, Fallout 76. I went from I'm not buying this, absolutely not, to I want it now. I just wasn't sold based on what they showed us for Ghost of Tsushima. I just wasn't. I don't know. I'm hoping for more, but then when I think about it, even though I like Infamous and Second Son was a good game, it wasn't a great game by any means. And I'm kind of getting, like, almost worried about Sucker Punch in a way where I'm kind of like, man, I can't even trust you guys anymore. Now, and again, I shouldn't say that because I haven't played Tsushima yet. But I'm just saying, like, there's just something about, like, they like to hype their games, which is great that they believe in their games and they love their games and all that stuff. But I feel like what we saw, and this is how, and again, it's not final, I know. Because I know that what we saw in the announcement, they said these are in-game visuals. This is from a PS4 Pro. This is 4K. This is how the game runs. Then what we saw during E3, it nowhere near was that level of visual. So I know it's not done what they showed us. So maybe when we, in like 6 months, 8 months, whatever, and it's a higher build, because I truly believe this is like an alpha build, but it's not even what they currently have. It was just what they had like available to do what they wanted to show. I do think it will look a little bit better, but the problem is how much better will it end up being by the end? Are you going to be fighting hordes of people at the same time? Are you going to only have to slash them once to kill them? What do you do? We don't even know what you do. Are there missions? After you beat the game, is it like, now what? Like Infamous always is? Like, what do you do? Is there, like the different dialogue choices? Do your choices matter? Now a lot of games are starting to do that. So if you just have dialogue, it's not as important anymore. I just have a lot of questions. Is there a crafting system? Can you create your character? If not, like, what's the deal with this guy? And that's one thing that I will give credit to Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed. They always, when they introduce a new character to their new game, they always define what that character, like what drives that character. Right now, and again, we don't know that about Death Stranding, but that's the point of Death Stranding. We already all know Spider-Man. We know Ellie. We get that. But like with this character, he's so new, and it's kind of like they're just showing him, but they're not even giving him anything really like cool to kind of even show you. It was just kind of like very basic to where it didn't even impress me or it didn't even intrigue me. Like, oh, he's a mystery guy. Like, no, I don't even care. He's just a guy that has a sword. And like fought an old woman that also has a sword, and they have a relationship, I guess. That's kind of how I left it, and I'm like, all right, whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I want it to be good. I definitely want it to be good, and I have faith that it will end up good. But like I said, man, it needs to do a lot to now win me over. I almost would have preferred not seeing it at all. Like this year, I would have rather saw a more final build.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see where you're coming from. Like, those are really good points. And when it comes to Sucker Punch, they have some work to do because Second Son was a step back, just plain and simple. Second Son was a step back. I loved First Light. I really thought they did a lot of things right with that arena kind of fighting in First Light. That kind of won me back. But when it comes to AAA games, they need to earn people's trust back. And since then, they've just been completely in the dark. No one's known what they've been doing. You have to imagine that they canceled their game. I personally am in the camp that believes they were working on an Infamous game, and it was canceled because that game came out back in 2014. So what have they been doing for all this time where Ghost of Tsushima is not even close to being done? They had to have been doing something and then told to stop at some point. When it comes to this game, I do agree with Tyler. What I will say is I did feel like it was underwhelming. I expected better. Especially from what we saw of the other games, there's no doubt Ghost of Tsushima was the weakest of those main four. Like, just without a doubt, that was easily the bottom. I'm intrigued. At times, the game looked really, really good. At times, the game didn't. Some of the leaf, kind of how the graphics looked on the leaves were pretty bad, but there were a lot of nice scenery moments when things looked good. I agree with Tyler. The horseback, I thought, was actually really fluid and worked well. I thought the sword combat at times looked really good and looked like there was something there with the countering and timing it. But at other times, like Tyler said, it looked like you just press square a bunch of times and you just hit them 3-4 times and they're dead. It looked uneven. The entire thing looked uneven. And I think that's what you get when a game doesn't come out for another 1.5 to 2 years like I think Ghost of Tsushima is. And that's another thing that disappointed me is I did think that this game was going to come out next fall, and I do not think that's the case anymore. I don't think it can possibly be ready in that time. And like Tyler said, we don't really know what this game is about. They didn't really tell us like what the missions were. We kind of were just thrown into a general look like side mission kind of activity in this game, which is a weird spot to put up, just kind of throw into it. The relationship between the guy and the girl was interesting. Like we know that there's something there, but Tyler's right. We don't really know why we're supposed to care about him yet. And I'm sure we will. If there's anything, even Delson was not the greatest character, but they are pretty good at making characters that are good. Cole is a pretty strong character, and they've done it throughout their whole, they made, even back in the day with Sly Cooper. So, like, they know how to make good characters. I think this game is going to come together. I do have a lot of confidence in it, and it's a game that I think I'm totally going to get. Sucker Punch, overall, I think is known to have higher quality games. I'm not super worried. I just think that it's out of the four, the least completed, which is weird because I thought Death Stranding was the least completed. I guess I didn't give that enough credit. I feel like I didn't give Death Stranding enough credit, and I gave Ghost of Tsushima too much credit. And I think if I just lowered my expectations, it would have been slightly better. But overall, I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to seeing more, and they have to show more because they do have a lot of work to earn a lot of people's trust back. So let us know in the comments below, guys, what did you think of Ghost of Tsushima? Did you like what we saw? What did you think that needs to be improved? And when do you think this game is actually going to come out? Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, podcast. Now we got more videos on E3 coming up throughout the rest of this week, talking about still the biggest games that were announced, some things that we want to talk about, and we've already had several videos go up this past week, so make sure you check them out too. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.